Hello, my name is Rose Riley, and I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Washtenaw County. Welcome to our online candidate forum for the November 8th general election. The League is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization that promotes voter education and participation, and we host candidate forums to help voters make informed choices. Now, let's hear from the candidates.
My name is Carolyn Madden, and I will moderate the forum tonight. It's my honor to introduce one of the two candidates running in the November general election for Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners, District 8, Democrat Yousef Rabbi. The other candidate, Republican Leslie Shannon, did not respond to numerous invitations to participate in this forum. So thank you for participating in this forum. And now we're ready for your opening statement, Mr. Rabbi.
Well, thank you so much for having me here, first of all, and to the League of Women Voters for having these forums to inform voters on who is going to be on the ballot and what we stand for. It has been a pleasure of mine to be participatory in these since 2010 when I first ran for office. My name, as was said, is Yousef Rabbi. I serve currently as the Democratic floor leader in the State House of Representatives, and I represent the 53rd District, which includes most of the city of Ann Arbor. As I approach my term limit here in the State House of Representatives, I am looking to run for the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners. As I said back in 2010, I first ran for office for the Washtenaw County Board, won that election by 1 vote on election day, 2 votes after the recount, and I served on the county board for 6 years. Since then, I served 6 years in the State House, representing the good people of the city of Ann Arbor in Lansing. And I hope that I can earn your vote in November to serve again as Washtenaw County Commissioner. There are many new challenges ahead of us, and I know that together we can tackle them.
Thank you very much. And now for the first question on the use of federal funds. Washtenaw County will receive more than $70 million in federal American Rescue Plan funds. In July, the University of Michigan's Poverty Solutions Center evaluated Washtenaw County's use of these funds. The U of M report recommended that the county prioritize adequate one-time investments in a limited number of initiatives, rather than spreading funding too thinly among multiple programs. The report also recommended a focus on achieving specific, measurable goals. Is the county spending ARPA funds as recommended by the U of M report?
That's a great question, and thank you so much for bringing that forward. With all the resources that are available from the federal government, I believe that the county can do even better in terms of prioritizing its resources. We have a lot of need in Washtenaw County. A lot of folks are struggling still with the pandemic, whether it's childcare, healthcare, many other things that people are struggling with all across our county. And we could really be using these dollars to fundamentally change the experience that people are having here. There are many projects that we started when I was on the board, including creating a Washtenaw County dental clinic. And these are the types of programs that we could be using these dollars for to really amplify the impact on the community and bring forward these services that people rely on. That's the power of Washtenaw County government, is that we can actually go to the communities where people are in need and provide these services. I have concerns over some of how the money has been spent. And frankly, I would have prioritized the dollars differently had I been involved in the process earlier on. But as a state representative, of course, I did not have a direct hand in how Washtenaw County was spending its money. I was able to influence how money was spent at the state level. And I can tell you that one of my main priorities with that is always making sure that our public dollars are going to public resources. All too often with this pandemic assistance money and other federal dollars, we've seen public dollars go to private companies to help subsidize, a private good or something that is ultimately going to be done for profit. And unfortunately, all too often, we see that broadband falls into that category where we are giving subsidies to the Comcast and AT&Ts of the world. And really, we should be investing in people-owned and people-powered solutions across our county, whether it's fighting poverty, fighting to make sure everybody has health insurance, or things like making sure everybody has broadband across the county. So we can spend our dollars better, and I hope to be able to do that.
Thank you very much. Second question, safe drinking water. 2 chemical spills, PFAS and Chrome 6, have endangered drinking water in the county. What steps should the Board of Commissioners take to ensure safe drinking water for county residents?
So there's a lot actually that the county can do. As a state representative, obviously this has been one of my top priorities. I've been involved in this issue since I got elected to Lansing, from the first PFAS spill that the Tri-Bar facility unfortunately perpetrated on our river, and really fought to make sure that the Department of Environmental Quality at the time, now it's called Eagle, took action to actually remediate and make sure that the company was no longer putting that contamination into our river. And we were successful at getting the filtration systems installed. And so then when the hexavalent chromium spill happened, we put those efforts back in motion. I've introduced a number of bills, including a polluter pay law. During my time in Lansing, I've introduced legislation to put groundwater in the public trust to protect our groundwater in the state of Michigan. Really, the environment and water, clean water, have been central and a core of everything that I've stood for as your state representative in Lansing. And really, Washtenaw County has a role to play in doing that as well. Whether it's standing up for good legislation in Lansing or advocating with Eagle to make sure that the response is adequate. These are all things that the county can be doing. We saw it with the 1,4-dioxane plume when I was a county commissioner. This was an issue that I was intricately involved in and really focused on to try to get that plume remediated. I believed at the time when I was a commissioner that we needed EPA involvement, because I saw that state laws were inadequate to get the pollution and the contamination spill cleaned up. And now, a couple of years back, we were able to ask for EPA help, and they are currently evaluating the process of stepping into that. We need more resources because our current state laws are completely inadequate, thanks to corporate interests that have completely, basically reduced the power of the state to actually act in situations like this. So we can do better, and the county definitely has a role to play in making that happen. You are muted, Carolyn.
Thanks. All right. Next question on election fairness. Do you believe that Washtenaw County operates free and fair elections? What additional steps, if any, should be taken to secure election processes and ensure public confidence in elections?
Yes, absolutely. Elections in Washtenaw County are fair and free. I believe that our county clerk, Larry Kesselbaum, does a fantastic job. I have full faith in our local clerks across the county to conduct the elections appropriately. And of course, I have faith in our Secretary of State, who has the authority to, help conduct elections statewide. And those that are questioning our electoral process, it is really sad to see that happen. I believe it's not only undemocratic, but un-American. And it is a sad state of affairs when this question even needs to be asked at a community town hall like this. But yes, I do believe our elections are fair. What I am concerned about as I look to the future is that we have the ability in all 83 counties across the state and at the state level. The board of canvassers at the county and the state level are made up of 50% Democrats, 50% Republicans. And we see more and more election deniers that are actually getting appointed to these board of canvassers positions and doing things like blocking signature, ballot measures where the signatures have been gathered to get on the ballot. They're blocking these measures from getting forward. And there's no legal basis for that. And the courts have now determined that there's no legal basis for that. And yet they tried to basically block the democratic will of the voters. I think that was an opening salvo for what's to come. I am concerned that some of the people getting appointed to these boards of canvassers across the state are going to use that 50% authority to, cast even more doubt on our elections and maybe even stop some elections from happening. And that is completely un-American, completely undemocratic, and it's a sad state of affairs in our country. I also think we need to pass the citizen-initiated proposal that's been put on the ballot to expand voter access, to allow people to vote, to enshrine the right to vote in our state laws, even when you don't show up to the polls with an ID. That we have currently a process to do that. The Republicans tried to take that away, and we need to pass this citizen-initiated measure to protect that in state law.
Thank you. This will be then the last question. Number 4, after effects of COVID-19. The COVID pandemic disproportionately affected Washtenaw County's least privileged citizens, especially those living in zip codes 48197 and 48198. Are there additional steps the county should take to address the effects of COVID on these residents?
Absolutely. So to your question earlier about, the federal funding and how we should be using it, really, instead of, kind of throwing the money at some of these other problems, we should be focusing those dollars on those zip codes on the east side of the county. That is really where the need is. That's where there's disproportionate health outcomes. And frankly, it's not just the pandemic. This is not new with COVID. This has been the case for years, for decades, that we've seen disproportionate health outcomes on the eastern side of the county. So investing our resources in helping the eastern side of the county is absolutely number one, in terms of what we should be looking at spending those dollars on. That's what it's supposed to be for. And so when I mentioned earlier things like the Washtenaw County Dental Clinic, we built the Washtenaw County Dental Clinic in Ypsilanti, in downtown Ypsilanti, for the Ypsilanti community, but really for all of Washtenaw County. We centered it there because we know that there's a lot of need. Those are the kinds of programs that we should be looking at expanding and making sure the public is aware of those. Expanding use. We have 11-chair dental facility in Ypsilanti. We can take the model that we use there and expand it to other things to provide healthcare needs for other residents. It is about dental care. It's about mental health care too. We have the county definitely has a massive mental health department, mental health budget. We need to make sure that everybody who needs those services are getting those services that they need. And we can use federal dollars to make sure that we're doing that and actually bringing the care into the communities that need it, not just siloing it in certain areas. So there are huge opportunities to expand healthcare access in our county, and the county itself has a role to play in doing that. In fact, we have our public health department, we have our mental health, community mental health department, we have a dental clinic, we have programs for those that are uninsured or underinsured to actually get the insurance that they need to actually get the health coverage that every American, every Michigander, every Washtenaw County resident deserves.
Okay, thank you again. So at this time, you can make your closing statement, and you have 90 seconds for that.
Wonderful. So I'm proud to be here with all of you. Thank you again to the League of Women Voters and to all of our hosts today. I am very much looking forward to rolling up my sleeves on behalf of the people of the 8th District at the Board of Commissioners. We have so much work to do. We have inequity, we have poverty, we have these, and we have resources like we've never had before to solve these problems. And I hope that we can actually spend the resources in a wise and meaningful way to make sure that when we are spending our county money or the state money that comes to the county or the federal money that comes to the county, we're spending it on the people that need it the most. And that is going to make lasting change in our community. We have so much work to do and so many projects that I started when I was a county commissioner that I hope to pick up and see through. Things like the Washtenaw County Dental Clinic, things like the Washtenaw County ID program, which we were the first in the entire state to make a municipal ID program here in Washtenaw County. We can expand on that work, and I'm looking forward to doing that. We have so much to do and so much that we have done working together. This is going to be an incredible journey, and I look forward to having hopefully all of you to work with to be able to get this job done. So hopefully I can count on your support in November as I run for Washtenaw County Commissioner. It has been an honor and a pleasure to serve you all these years, and I hope to serve you in this next term on the Washtenaw County Board. Thank you once again for having me on this. call. And thank you so much.
Perfect timing. Thank you very much for your participation, and thanks to our viewers as well.
The League thanks the candidates and volunteers who participated in tonight's forum and community members who submitted questions. Please urge others to view our forums. Most importantly, please vote in the November 8th general elections, either by absentee ballot or in person.